Welcome back to another episode of the Young Black Suburban. We have a very special guest, and it's crazy how this interview came to be. But I have Marty Brown on the show, and Marty Brown has a lot going on. But we have a special connection that I just found out. Mm-hmm. You found out through my little sister
a couple years ago
that we were related.
Absolutely.
How did that happen?
This is a crazy story. So we have a mutual friend. I was at the verge of organizing an amateur boxing event, mm-hmm. and we're still in negotiations to put that show together. Mm-hmm. But in any event, our mutual friend and I were on the phone having a conversation. And I say to the mutual friend, I'm looking for someone who has the energy like I have, who has some sort of experience with holding a microphone to interview some of our special guests that's going to come mm-hmm. to the event. And she says, oh, I have somebody, a good friend of mine's. You know, she went to school for communications, and I believe she has her degree. And mm-hmm. you know, she was actually giving me some great, insight on this woman. So I said, okay, cool. Well, one day I would like to meet her, talk to her about, what the event's about, what we're going to be doing, what I would expect for her to do, different things of that nature, how much, she's going to, possibly get paid, for her services. And it just so happened that one day I was over the mutual friend's house, and I didn't know that she was going to have this woman come over to her house. We was chilling. We waited for a couple people to come over. But anyway, this woman walks in the door. The mutual friend gives us an introduction. Hi, this is such and such, and this is Marty, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, Marty, this is the, young lady I was telling you about, who I, referred to you with regards to, the amateur boxing event. So I was like, oh, cool. So, I don't prejudge anybody. So mm-hmm. I didn't just naturally assume that she didn't know anything about boxing. Right. I was just asking her questions, are you comfortable in front of a camera? Are you comfortable with the microphone? Different things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Because just because a person have a degree in something doesn't mean they work in that field, right?
Exactly.
Go. Yep. So I didn't want to presume. So once she told me she was comfortable, and her personality was really from the onset. Yeah. So I realized, like, wait a minute, we share, kind of the same magnetic personality. This is going to be great. So I was asking her questions about boxing, and my first question to her was, have you ever been to a live boxing event? Right. Even though our event was going to be amateur, but just in general, amateur or professional. Yeah. She says, she laughed it off. Not boxing. My dad, was a professional boxer. My brother was a professional. So when she said that, her dad was a professional boxer. Her brother was a professional boxer. I'm like, oh, who's your dad? When she told me who her dad was, I was looking at her face. It's like when somebody says, this is my mother, or this is my father. Yeah. Once you know their
and then you saw my father in her.
Instantly, as soon as she said his name, I looked back and said, you look just like your father. And I was telling her about how a few months prior to that, my mom was telling me that we're family. I'm family with, Tim Witherspoon.
But you're more family with my mother, though. Right.
So my mom was giving me the history. Of your mom, and I call him Cousin Timmy.
Right. Well, he would be your cousin. He is your cousin.
Right. Yeah. So Cousin Timmy, and so that was a few months ago. And the only reason my mom told me that is because we were going down the family tree at that point, trying to see if we could do our first annual family reunion. We never had one in my family before. Right. Unfortunately. Right. And she was just giving me names of this person, and because my whole family's from South Philly. So she's giving me names of different people and different experiences and how she missed them and, stuff like that. And she brought up your dad. Right. So when your sister said who your dad was, I immediately called my mother on the phone. I said, Mom, you can't believe this. I just got out of a conversation with you months ago about Tim Witherspoon. And my mom was running down name after, but I had on speakerphone. Right. And when she ran down your mother's name, That's when your sister said, "That's my mom."
Right.
We just started naming certain people in the family, which are my aunts, which are your cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
right.
We've been like this ever since.
Right. And now,
so that's how it happened.
And you're on the podcast. You know, we got you here. We were actually at a family event together for the first time. My aunt, your cousin's 60th birthday party. That was great, and we started talking a lot. I started finding out a lot about you.
But before that, before that, it was the amateur.
Oh yeah.
It was the amateur boxing.
Yeah. So
I
am jumping the gun.
Yes, sir. Give your plug.
Because I want to talk about you being official.
Oh
yeah. But so you came to the gym. I threw the Clash of the Clock Tower fight event.
Yes, sir.
And that's when you came up to me and you told me a story. And then the very following week, that's when we had the family event. And it's just crazy how the galaxy and everything pulls together. Eventually, I never got a chance to grow up in South Philly. I know that all my family's from that area too. You know, my mom and my dad. You know, your family. Did you grow up there?
No, I didn't grow up in South Philadelphia. I grew up in North Philly.
Okay.
North Philadelphia. I grew up in North Philly. When my mother and father decided to move in together, they moved from South Philly. My whole family grew up in South Philly, like your parents.
Right.
From Yay High. Born and raised, right? So when my parents decided to live together, they moved from South Philly to North Philadelphia. Projects in North Philadelphia.
Okay.
Richard Allen Homes.
Right.
So we moved. So they moved out of South Philly, and then ever since I was born and basically being raised, Cambridge Mall, Richard Allen.
So how was it growing up in North Philly?
Oh, how was it growing up in North Philly?
Yeah.
It was perfect, man. It was like the suburbs.
Yeah.
We had birds walking around, seafood, you know what I mean? We had, there was no poppy stores, no bodegas, no Puerto Rican store. It was...
You serious?
It was telling you, brother,
you serious?
It was nice. Oh my goodness. Suburban. You couldn't even catch the city bus in my neighborhood. Brother. It was suburban.
Yeah.
No,
I know you lying like a mother. Because I got a feeling the homes that you mentioned that you grew up in, I know them. That's not... I don't want to...
Here's the thing, Tim. I'm not qualified to be on this show. It's called Young Black Suburban. I'm not from the suburbs.
It's not that, though. Young Black Suburban crossover everywhere. We have friends in the city. You got friends in Iowa where I just went for vacation. Like we everywhere. So
I have been suburban the last few years of my life.
A few years, all right.
So I am a little.
So you had the typical North Philly experience growing up.
Totally rough. Yeah. We lived in a high-rise building.
Okay.
High-rise building had 12 floors, and that's where we started. When we first moved, when I was born, high-rise building. So my mom wound up having she has a total of 7 today.
Okay.
But back then it was a total of 6 of us. And she made the 7th person in a 2-bedroom high-rise apartment.
Yeah.
My mother didn't have her own room. We didn't have furniture. We couldn't afford furniture. I remember a time, and any friend of mine that still communicate with me in the last 20 to 30 years that's going to watch this podcast is going to affirm and attest that they remember coming over our house for birthday parties with crates.
Right.
We was playing, what's the name of that game? The music has to go off.
Musical chairs. Yeah.
We were playing musical chairs with crates because my mom
right.
couch and everything like that. So she had this big day bed, and that was her little bed that she would sleep on in the living room. And everything in those apartments was like small, very small.
Living like that
was bad, terrible.
Did your parents install in you education?
Absolutely. Well, my father was in and out of jail at that time. So my mom was a single mom. Raising a lot of children.
So, what order are you as far as?
I'm second. I'm the second to the oldest.
Second to the oldest. Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people.
We have a lot of parallels.
So a lot of people that know me, they probably don't know this. until they start to get to know me. But I actually have an older brother.
Okay.
So I give him all the credit for being my oldest brother. Most people think I'm the oldest.
Right.
But I'm not the oldest. I actually have an older brother.
Right.
And he's 5 years older than myself.
Okay.
And he was my roommate. We slept in the same bed. We had bunk beds all over the whole apartment. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I'm second to the oldest.
Okay.
And so we had it very rough.
Right.
Ketchup sandwiches, mayonnaise sandwiches. We couldn't afford the name brand cereal. I even teased my children every now and then about the fact that they have the luxury of eating, name brand cereal. We had generic brand cereal because we was on WIC. You know what I mean? Women, Infant, Children.
Right.
So I remember King Vitamin in front instead of Fruit Loops, it was Fruit Rings.
Fruitos,
Yeah, so, instead of Cheerios, it was Toasted Oats.
I remember being over my aunt's house, your cousin.
South Philly?
No, they actually made a couple dollars, moved to Overbrook section.
Okay, West Philly.
In a nice house, but your other cousin came over, my Aunt Rhonda, and she had a bag of cereal. I've never seen a bag of cereal before. And it said Fruity Speckles. And not Fruity Pebbles. I'll never forget it.
I remember.
You remember that? Fruity
Absolutely.
Speckles.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
And here's the thing, and I'm not talking bad about, people that still live in the ghetto or in a community with the same struggles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's rough. It's rough.
Oh, definitely,
and,
definitely.
We used to have, when my mom used to get those big bags, right? Because it was a lot of us. Back in the day, they had pig feet jars. And we didn't eat pig feet, but what my mom would do is she would save those jars and put the cereal in the jars. That was where we stored the cereal in the cabinet because, it was roaches and mice. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so I remember those times.
Right.
And so, when we ran out of milk, we had to go from vitamin D milk to carnation milk, in the can.
Yeah.
In the can and mix it with the water.
Yeah.
Then when we ran out of carnation milk, it was just water. So I remember, those struggles.
Right.
I remember all of those struggles.
You get to a point to where you become a man yourself. You gotta think about, man, I gotta start providing.
Oh, absolutely.
Start finding a way
to experience that.
You might be at home where your parents still figuring out how to help them, maybe. I don't know. Do you remember that time in your life where you had to make a decision like, look, I'm either gonna stay in this situation or I'm gonna do better for myself?
Absolutely. That started in the bodega. Now, I know a lot of people that, they get on these podcasts to me and they incriminate themselves. But the statute of limitation of what I'm about to say is expired at this point because I was a little kid.
You still ain't gotta say no names.
I'm off the store myself.
Yeah, okay.
Myself, But I'm just saying, there was a bodega in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And because this is when we moved out of the Richard Allen area uptown. You know what I mean? We had to move because they demolished the whole projects to basically, reinvent how the structure of the property look. If you go down Richard Allen Homes right now, 10th and Poplar, where I'm from, it don't look like the same Richard Allen Cambridge Mall that it was when I grew up there. Okay. It looks like they have single home.
Right.
Like a single home structure on the outside.
It's crazy how they do that all over the city.
Absolutely.
I remember driving in South Philly. They used to have high rises off of Spring Garden and everything. Now their houses look better than the old houses. Some of the houses that are still in the neighborhood.
Yep. So back then we had a poppy store in our neighborhood, and it was just so many of us, and just growing up, just having a lot of people in one house, and your brother got to eat the last hot dog and that's it, but you want seconds, that type of deal. Right. And so I recall going to the bodega store and, acting like I was asking them a question about something in the store, but I was really boosting bread and different things of that nature. So let's say if I had 50 cents, I would go in and pay the 50 cents for a cake and a soda. Back then, the day's soda was 25 cents. Right. I'm telling you, I'm going back. Right. So anybody that's looking at this, you can't incriminate me until you're showing you how long ago that was.
Yeah, but they're going to add your age up.
That's okay. That's okay. I understand. But my point is that I would go in, act like I'm asking a question, then I'll go buy a cake and a soda, and what I'll do is I'll put the bread on top of the the freezer where they had the little popsicles and everything in, and then once they give me the bag, I just slip the bread in there and I walk out. You know, but I'm saying all that to say that once I realized that was stealing and that was wrong. Of course, I knew that was wrong to feed my sisters and brothers who are younger than me. Right. I said, there's got to be a different way. Just trying to help my mom and everything. So growing up, years and years went by. I was eligible for my first filler job. I don't know if I was 14 at this time, to be able to work. You know, work for the summer job. Right. You know, try to help my mom out a little bit. You know, and here, mom, here was $5. You know, here was $10. You know, and most African American or Black men today who has done the same thing, they understand and can relate to what I'm talking about. Exactly. And that never stopped because as I got older and older, you know, now the trajectory of my lifestyle changed because that stealing stayed with me. Right. Okay, so now I'm starting to do some things in the street. Needless to say, that didn't stop me from supporting my mother. Now, my mother didn't know if I was doing illegal activity or anything, you know, because she didn't raise us like that. We were brought up and raised on a good foundation. Right. And I give my mother all the credit in the world for that. But my point is that, I still was helping mom dukes out. Right. You understand? Growing up. And just taking care of my brothers and sisters who are younger than me.
And, you know, you got an education? Did you?
Well, back to your first question, my mother always preached education. Right. I mean, preached it to, just education.
Yeah, because I want to be careful about what I'm about to say because I don't like it when people say it about me. Okay. They say, Tim, you talk so well. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you carry yourself. I'm like, how am I supposed to carry myself? You know, but they don't expect. Yeah. Someone that looks like me and you sometimes to articulate ourselves well, to run businesses. It's just the way society is. I look at you and I'm saying this brother articulates himself well, has the energy, positive energy to do it. And you're telling us a story about how you had to do what you had to do to survive. Yeah. Something got you to be the person that you are today.
Absolutely. So let me get to the part with education. My mother preached education. My mother, if my mother was in this room right now and heard you say the word education, she would say out loud in the middle of a podcast, I keep telling you to go back to school, son. She'll say it right now. Right. You know, but her whole foundation was education and still is to this day. Right. When other kids were outside playing on the weekend, my mother would make us read books before that was our hall pass to go outside. Right. On the weekends. Yeah. So my mother made us read books and everything. My mother made us write, our ABCs down on the paper, every single day, write our name in cursive, everything that we were learning in school. My mother would come and basically, reiterate some of those things and reinforce some of those things at home. That's why I'm a big, I'm really big on this. Right. Education starts at home. Oh, right? Because that's how I was raised, right? So my mom is big on education. So my mom was so big on education that when it was time for me to graduate, I didn't want to go to college. I had no interest in it at all, but I know that was something that my mom kept saying that I need to do. Right. My mom used to have this saying back then. She used to say, son, you got 3 things against you. Being Black, being a male, and being uneducated. Okay? And so, can't do nothing about being Black. Can't do nothing about being a male. But you definitely going to do something about being uneducated. Right, okay? Right, now, I'm basically paraphrasing. Yeah. Because, some Black mothers, they know how to, say stuff with a different language. Different profanity that make you know how to jump.
They can get the job done. Yeah.
So, that was what I was raised up under. Okay. So I wound up going to college. And so
where did you attend?
I attended DeVry University. Okay. And the reason why is because I was so afraid to leave home, not because of my own, but because of the situation my mother was in at the time. She was dealing with this abusive guy at the time, and I was protective of my mother. My older brother at the time was in prison. So I was the oldest. Right. I was trying to hold it down, but I just didn't want to leave. I felt like I was leaving my mother to this guy. Right. Right. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay close to home. Okay. A little bit. Right. And then I was dating this girl head over heels for her.
Always
so I was like, I got 2 reasons now that I can be close to home. The girl and my mother, you know what I mean? So, but I did wind up going to school, ready to live on campus. I get a phone call from the girl I was dating at the time. I'm pregnant. And she wound up having a baby. I was there throughout the entire pregnancy. We were broken up at the time. You know, that the call came in.
Right.
But I realized that I couldn't go to school full time, work full time, and be a full-time dad.
Right.
Because she still was in school. So I had to make a decision. And the decision that I made at that time was to drop out of college so that I could be a full-time dad. Right. So I worked as a security guard overnight. Okay. So that in the morning, I would be back off of work to get my daughter while her mother, you know, stay in school. Right. And so that's you know, so technically speaking, I'm a college dropout. Okay. You know, but at the same time, you know, education was foundation. Yeah. So education, and I realize this today, doesn't start or stop in a classroom. No, not at all. And it don't have to be organized as a college. You can take courses, it's still education. You know, you can get a trade, it's still education, right? You can learn on a job. It's still education. And nowadays we do stress a lot. College. Yeah. I'm a living testimony, and my son's in trouble now because of his grades. I want him to do better, but school is not the end all to be all. You dropped out of college, I dropped out of high school, and we're sitting in my business. You know, we're on my podcast, and we're both testimony of that. You know, even though you might have dropped out of the organized structure of school, there's still plenty to be learned in life, plenty to learn. And there's no excuse right now either with the internet, and you don't even have to go to the class. You know, like you can learn whatever you want to do. I wound up going back to education, and that's how I'm certified. Okay. Credit specialist, certified. Business consultant, certified. You know, tax practitioner, certified. Right. You know, financial coach, certified. These are all 4 different certifications. Right. Let's get into that. In the last 5 years. So most people don't know that about me. Yeah. Because this all your whole upbringing, where you're from, career choices, ultimately is getting us to what we really want to talk about, which is boxing. But you chose to have a path with helping out people with their financial situation. Yes, sir. Was that something that was a calling to you, or was it something that you always like numbers, or what? Oh yeah, I'm really good with math. I'm really good with math. I always tell people this, Tim. My favorite 2 subjects in school. I don't think I failed in school yet with these 2 topics. Right. Math and girls. Now later on in my life, I think I did some failing with the girls. You're probably better off in math. Yeah, I'm much more better off in math, right? So math, I'm really good with numbers. Yeah. And so the desire, I would say, I believe that God did place that, you know, in my heart, because what happened was a friend of mine, God rest his soul, he's no longer with us, one of my closest friends, he used to tell me about like credit and everything. And at that time, you know, I was working with one of the greatest employers in the city of Philadelphia, Scepter. Gotta give him a plug. You know, but at that time, I was making a whole lot of money. Okay? Today I'm unemployable. But I was making a whole lot of money back then. According to certain standards, right? You know, without a college degree. You know what I mean? So at that time, I was like, yo, just give me the check. And if I want to go buy Gucci, I'll just buy it. You're talking about credit. I need the cash. I need you to cut me the check. I wasn't really concerned about credit. No, nobody really talked to me about, you know, the importance of credit as an adult. Do you find that that's a generational thing and a cultural thing? Nobody has. So Young Black Suburban, we touched on that being the show. A lot of my friends are white. 700 credit scores. Not even that they did it. Their parents set them up. Absolutely. To have credit ready for them. Absolutely. I'm like, yo, I don't think my dad has it. And my dad's 2-time heavyweight world. I've never seen my dad pay for anything with a credit card. I'm serious. I've never seen my dad. It was never taught to me. because it wasn't taught to dad or mom. You understand? So back then, it wasn't taught to my parents.
Right.
You know? But I did have a mentor growing up. You know, I did have a mentor who was a deacon at the church that I was raised in at the time. And he actually took me under his wing. He's like a dad to me.
Right.
You know? So he was teaching me about like credit and, you know, finances. And I'm talking about back then. And he lived in the suburbs. So he's the one that took me from the hood and was showing me what suburban life, you know, looked like. So I got an experience with that. And I mean, I didn't live with him, but when we hung out on the weekends, you know what I mean? I was able to be exposed to something different than what I was seeing every day. So he would put those little bugs on my ear about credit and banking and different things. But of course, you know, you from the hood, that goes in one ear and out the other. But I didn't have, you know, growing up in my household structure. I'm going to clarify that because I said I didn't have. And I did have somebody sharing it with me, but he wasn't my father. I wasn't with him every day, right? So I didn't have somebody like my parents, you know, say, hey, listen, this is what a credit card is. This is what a credit score is. This is how it works. This is how you be responsible with your credit. You need credit for A, B, and C. I didn't have that, right? So a friend of mine was talking to me about it. Hey, do you got a credit card? Because he would go everywhere we go. He pull out his credit card. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be in your business. We work at the same job, brother. I know I got a lot of kids and you don't have none. But how much money do you actually have on that card right there?
Right.
Because he just would pull it out.
Yeah.
And he would just swipe it every time we hung out. And he was telling me about like how credit cards work. He was like the first person to really tell me about like how that worked. And so I was like, man, that's cool. So I started trying it, you know. I started trying it. Once I started education, educating myself and hearing him educate me on, you know, how to be responsible with it and the power that it actually have when it comes to financial literacy and what, you know, basically it does for you with the overall good credit health. I started to see things unlock for me that wasn't unlocking for me before. You know, financing cars, buying a house, doing all of this. You paying twice as much for it and don't understand why, and you're like, how do I get my credit score up? What do I do? Right. So that's when the wheels start turning for me. And then once I got out of the cultural environment, SEPTA, Philadelphia, and I moved to Texas, that's when my life really started, you know, changing when it comes down to financial literacy. And that's how I went to school and got certified as a credit specialist. That's how it all started for me.
I could have used you a little while ago. I can still use you. Actually, and I'll say this on my first credit card should be here any day now.
Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. Now you got to learn how to master and manipulate the game.
So I'm starting small. I'm starting small.
That's how you start.
You know, and basically my only reason, so I built all this with no credit card. The show that you came to. No credit card. And now that I'm a businessman for 3 years, I'm kind of embarrassed of that because listen. Because even though I have the cash, I need the credit. You need the credit. So now I'm here now after doing all that, thinking, dang, man, I should have just been putting stuff on the credit card. I had the cash to pay for it, just to manipulate this, not manipulate, but to use the system.
Manipulate, you said it correctly.
To use the system to get a higher credit score.
Absolutely.
I've wasted a lot of time. Now I got to do it now, you know.
But it's a good time to do it now. You want to know why? Why? Because you are made aware now. See, back then, if you were made aware of it back then, you may have not been responsible with it, right? So to whom much is given, much is required. So now that you have the awareness, now you can be more responsible to be able to handle it when it comes in your possession.
What are some of the biggest questions that you get as a financial analyst? Is that a good word to use?
Yeah, I'm a financial coach in one thing, and I'm a credit specialist over here. And I don't do too much of, you know, like I said, I'm unemployable, man. You know, you know how I go. But my point is, and then, you know, tax practitioner over here, business consultant over here.
You got a lot going on.
I got a lot going on. But I don't do anything. I'm unemployable. Everybody else.
You keep saying.
I keep saying that. I want you to know that. Let's talk. Camera, they need to know this.
Yeah. So what do you say you're unemployable?
You got. I'm gonna call you. Can I call you after the podcast?
All right.
Can I call you?
All right. Yeah. We'll talk about it.
We talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. So what is
I'm still unemployable.
What is the name of your business?
All right. So here's the thing. When I started this business, Credit Cop.
Okay.
I'm not hands-on with it anymore. You know. Other people do what they do. I'm just a founder. It's a company that I founded. It was my baby. You know what I mean? So I'm here and there. You know what I mean? And then the consulting firm, and I have the financial services and the business wrapped all in one. And that's how I started it. You know what I mean? But one of the biggest questions that I do get a lot is, how do I increase my credit score? That, over the years, people ask me that all the time. How do I increase my credit score? What is it on my credit reports that is basically negatively impacting me the most, right? And there's so many people that does quote unquote credit repair, right? I hate the word repair, but I'll just say restoration, credit restoration, right? Most of the people are not.
Some of us don't need repair. Some of us just don't have any.
Need establishment.
Right.
So not knocking what nobody else do, but when it comes down to it, it's not so much about just what's reporting negatively on your credit reports that's impacting you. It's what's not being reported.
Right.
Like in your case, the credit card is not being reported. Why? Because a credit card is revolving credit, right? And there's not another way to increase your credit score more effectively or more quicker than the use or the responsible use
of a credit card.
That's the secret I'll drop on this podcast right now. And so the question is, how do I use a credit card? I've never had one. That's another question that I'm asked. How do I really manipulate the system? Because there's so many different perspectives that have been placed in the atmosphere. On YouTube, by word of mouth. Hey, you can run your credit card limit all the way up as long as within 30 days you pay it down to like 20% or 30%. And these are things that people have been saying. But I'm here to dispel that myth that none of that's true. None of that's true. If you started the right way, your foundation is laid from the very onset, at the beginning of your billing cycle. You won't have to play from behind like other people are telling you. But you have to learn it. It's a system. And you can do it with multiple credit cards and not just one. It doesn't matter what your limit is, because your limit will always increase the more responsible you are with it. How do I know that? Because other banks want your business. And they're going to send you letters in the mail and say, hey, I noticed that you had $300 on this small credit card, and we see how responsible you are with that. Can we offer you $700? Hey, here's a fake card with an activation code on there. Basically like a.
We see them all the time.
We see them all the
Capital
time.
One John.
They want to reach out to you. It's when you reach out to them that you have the problem. Because you're not credit worthy enough. Once they conduct, an evaluation of your credit health in its totality, they're going to see that most of the times you're not responsible. So no, we'll call you. You don't have to call us. And that places inquiries on your credit report once you start inquiring and asking them.
And then that negatively can affect your credit.
It will. And let me tell you this. This is important too. I need to share this because a lot of people may not know this, right? So I had a good friend of mine. He's in a furniture store. Credit score is about a 730 at the time. This was years ago. He calls me. He says, Marty, listen, man. I'm in this furniture store. I'm trying to buy furniture. I'm trying to use my credit card, and they're telling me that either I can use my credit card or I can basically use the store's credit. So I said, well, look, I ain't gonna use the credit card. I will use the store credit. But when they conducted a credit evaluation in the background, a check on his credit health, they denied him. Remember, his credit score was a 730. They denied him. Guess why they denied him? It wasn't because of his income. It wasn't because of his debt to income ratio. It wasn't because of the fact that he didn't have enough credit, limit. It wasn't that he wasn't paying his bills on time, because 35% of our, credit scores are calculated by payment history. It wasn't none of that. Guess what it was? Inquiries. He had more than 2 inquiries on his credit report. He didn't understand the system. So I broke it down to him, and I'll break it down to your audience right now. When you have more than 2 inquiries on your credit report within a 6 to 8 month time span, most likely you'll get denied. Because basically it looks like you're being thirsty. You're being desperate. You're trying so hard to get this house, car, money, or personal loan or whatever, and it's like, we see that you've been trying to do this within the last 6 to 8 months. We don't know what your agenda is. We don't know if you're able to pay us back in enough time, because desperate measures call, what is the statement?
Desperate people.
We
got you.
That's why I create my own instead of trying to quote somebody else.
I got you. You're good. But so let me run you through my personal scenario. What I'm planning on doing. I already paid my bills. And really, this came about because me and my girlfriend were gonna buy 75-inch TV at Best Buy.
Yeah.
I was prepared to buy it with cash.
Yeah.
She goes, hold on. Let's see if I can get a Best Buy credit card so we can pay it off this way.
Yeah.
She goes, boom, gets it, no problem. You know, I'm talking about thousands of dollars.
Right then and there on the spot. Boom, got approved.
That I'm not putting out of my pocket. We went online to do the whole process. All we had to do was go to the store, pick the TV up.
That's it.
And she did that with her new Best Buy credit card. Now she's financially smart. Her parents passed it down to her.
Yeah.
So now it's my turn to start.
Yeah.
I already paid my bills in cash.
Yeah.
My plan is to pay it with the credit card.
Yeah.
Just send the cash to the credit card company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the best way to go about that process? I know I plan on paying it all the way off, 100% of it every time.
Yeah.
Some people only pay some. Yeah. Some people do different types of situations.
Yeah.
In my situation, do you think that is a good idea?
Which part? Which way is a good idea?
Using it to pay my bills and just sending the money to the credit card company instead of the way I've been doing, which is paying my bills directly with cash.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. First of all, you have to have a certain amount on your credit card as far as the total limit. Right? So let's say your bills are like $500 a month. But you only have $500 on your credit card.
Right.
That would not be wise, right? To use the entire $500 on your credit card to make that.
Okay. And explain why.
Good question. To make that whole payment, as far as you paying your bill, that's $500. You have a $500 credit limit, and you're going to use the entire $500 to this particular $500 bill or expense, right? That's not good. I'll tell you why. 30% of all of our credit scores as consumers are calculated by credit utilization. What that means is that you have a certain amount of total credit limit. Right? Monthly on a monthly basis.
We used 500.
Right. How much are you actually using? So you're actually utilizing 100% of your credit limit.
Right.
That's bad. Totally going to hurt your score. Okay. Even if you paid it within the 30 days, it's going to hurt your score because you used all of the $500. So I recommend, and over the years, I have taught people how to discipline themselves to use a specific amount of percentage from the very beginning so that you won't have to pay it down, pay it off. Anytime you leave a balance on your credit card statement, they will hit you, meaning the bank or the creditor, will hit you with what is called a finance fee. Okay? The goal is we don't want the bank to make any money off of our irresponsibilities or our lack of knowledge. We want to stay under the radar so the banks won't make money. Why is that?
Sorry, you got it? Sorry. All right.
Why is that? The banks will make money. The only way, late fees, interest, and finance fees. But if you stay clear of establishing a type of discipline in the very beginning of your billing cycle, you won't have to incur those fees. The banks can't make money. Guess what the banks will do if they cannot make money? They will incentivize you. What do I mean by that? They will send you more free money and more free money. Why are they doing that? It's because they realize if you had that situation, $500 on your credit card, let's keep the same scenario, $500 expense. If you would be that irresponsible to use 100% of your credit limit for an expense, imagine what you would do with $2,000.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to make money off you.
Right.
Imagine what you would do with $4,000 if you don't discipline yourself. Right. And the numbers can go higher and higher.
Yeah.
So what we want to do, and what I would recommend in that scenario is you use a specific amount of your credit limit a specific percentage that's going to do two things. It's going to, number one, pay your bill. That's what the intended goal is. And number two, increase your credit score.
Right. Now, if what I'm hearing is correct, you would want me to use
a specific percentage.
Not just that though. Also, not just one purchase. Use it more frequently. Maybe if I have $500, use it for 2-3 different things.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter as long as you're at this percentage.
Right.
Here's the secret. Should I charge your viewers for this?
Yeah, I'm trying,
brother. I don't want to be free information.
I'm trying to ask these questions without getting specific.
We dropping Jews today. When I go to the podcast, we're dropping Jews.
Yeah.
So listen, check this out. All three of the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion,
right?
They all have a grade chart. This is how they are able to calculate your 30% of your credit score, which is calculated through credit utilization.
Yeah.
There's a grade chart. A, you know what that means in school, excellent. B, right? C, D, F means zero, right? You're failing, right? So if your grade chart stays within an A and a B range, that's when you'll see the maximum potential of your credit score increasing. That's when you'll see other banks and even the creditor or the bank that you are, issued that card through will start sending you more money. Right. That's the name of the game. So if you're staying in the range of this grade chart, you're always going to be in the clear, opposed to you using all of your total limit, or 50% or half of your total limit, working from behind to catch up, and then get hit with finance fees. Is just to me, it's unnecessary. Right. But it comes with knowledge. Yeah. Now, my personal belief system, I don't believe in the banks making money off of me. I don't believe that. Right. I actually discourage people from having checking and savings accounts. I don't have a checking account. I don't own a savings account. The banks make money off of consumers. Right. You don't have to take my word for it. No. You can go through your email right now with your financial institution that you have a checking or savings account with, and they will say their value what? Customer. So it's telling you that you are a customer to the banking system. So why not actually go to the bank and get money and make money off of the bank, opposed to the banks making money off of you? So that comes with knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? Education. Knowledge. Absolutely. And I'm gonna get some more free credit advice. Absolutely. But that's not the only thing that you are about. No, I'm not. I am about the check. I am about. And we should be. But our first meeting was at Clash of the Clock Tower. Yes, sir. A boxing event that I threw here. My dad did an exhibition. I did an exhibition. My son had his first fight. Beautiful day. Yes, it was. You were official. And that's when you told me that we were cousins and everything. I was like, oh yeah. And then I see you at the family gathering. I'm like, wait a minute, man. I've been in boxing. I had my first fight when I was 8. I ain't seen Marty around. Where did this guy Marty come from? And how did he become an official with USA Boxing? How did your passion for boxing develop? Where did that come from? That's a good question. Let me tell you, about 20-something years ago, I had gotten into 2 physical altercations. Both of the guys that I got into a physical altercation with were bigger than me. Now, this is the irony in this. Nobody my size can beat me. And I still feel that way to this day. But I'm not trying to get in the ring and fight nobody. What my point is that I always had trouble with bigger guys. Right. So I remember one time, this is 20-something years ago, this guy, he was like I was 5'5" at the time. He was like 5'9". Easy 180 something. I'm like 120. He's like 180, 195. Play high school football. Me and him had some words, and I thought the issue was done. Wasn't even a big deal. I go to turn around to leave away from his presence because he was making it seem like he didn't have an issue with me. Right. Next thing you know, I feel something come across the back of my head, just skin me. I turn around, the big guy got me on the wall. I'm trying to grip him my back, but you see how big this guy is, right?
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't scared to engage with him, but I was like, man, this big dude, how do I defend myself against big dude?
Right.
A year after that, I'm in high school, didn't know I had a problem with this other guy. This guy's like 6'2". Easy 180, 190. Slim guy, I mean, tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing next to a female in school, just having a conversation with her. Guy hit me. Bang! Cold cocked me right out of nowhere. First thing I thought about was, I gotta defend myself.
Yeah.
So all I could do, he did the right thing. He hit me, bang. He stunned me. I didn't fall, didn't feel it, didn't drop, nothing. Didn't knock me down, knock me out of nothing. Mm-hmm. You know, he kept teeing off. But I'm like this, soft punches.
Yeah.
He's hit me with soft punches. So when he stopped, I'm going to go defend myself. He disappears. Bottom line is, I realized something. Two things. I can take a punch, and I'm not scared of big guys. But also, the third thing is really, I don't know how to defend myself against bigger guys. Mm-hmm. So I was talking to this friend at the time. I mean, I'm a young teenager at the time. Yeah. And he's like, man, there's a boxing gym around my neighborhood. You know, you should come check it out. My fraternal grandfather he was a professional boxer. Mm-hmm. At that time, I didn't know that. I had learned this later on in life. Right. So boxing is in my blood, but I didn't know that then. And so I go to the gym, ABC Gym, in North Philly.
That's Fred Jenkins.
Fred Jenkins. Yeah. And the first time I walked in the gym, I said, Mr. Fred, I want to learn how to beat up big people. You know? And he said, well, boxing is not all about, just knocking people out. Right. You can defend yourself, but it's not, because I thought you just go in there and you just start just knocking people out. Mm-hmm. And so he gave me all these forms, physical forms to give to the doctor, my mom, and if she approved it, then he'll train me. Mm-hmm. And so I went to my mom and told her I wanted to box and learn how to defend myself against bigger guys. Man. And the rest was history. Right. But I only did a couple of months with Mr. Fred because I felt like he wasn't being fair to me. And I'm going to tell you why. He took like almost a month or two just to show me how to jab. Yeah. Because every time I come to the gym, he's telling me to run around the rec center and get my cardio up, but I didn't understand. Exactly. I think I just want to learn how to jab, throw a cross, shoe shine, throw a right hook. But
he was making you pay your dues.
He was making me pay my dues, but I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. So I went to another gym and I just was gym hopping just to learn and so just getting that amateur feel. Boxing was always in me. Right. So after I moved from Philly to go to Texas, I got wind that they were starting this new clinic. We call it clinic in USA Boxing. Right. For referees and judges. I said, man, I want to be a part of that. Right. I'm already analyzing boxing to my friends. I've been in the ring. At that time I was training with my son. Okay. I had my younger son, little Marty. I was training with him in the gym. And I was like, yeah. So next thing you know, somebody I knew gave me somebody's phone number. That phone number led me to somebody else's phone number. I had to take a test. I had to get certified, background check. I had to go through the whole entire process. Right. And then, here I am as a boxing referee and judge.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
And that segued me into management. Right. Because I would go to all of the local fights when I had time in Philadelphia and in New Jersey. And even like professional bouts out of town, right? And people would see me and walk up to me and say, yo, who are you? Like, I saw you at the last fight. You got on the suit, you got on the tie. What do you do? Like, who are you? Nobody knew who I was. Right. I was just this regular fan sitting in front row, right? They didn't know what my business was. They didn't know what I was doing, whether I had any intricate involvement in the actual event. Right, was I just a fan? Who was I? But I never told them who I was. It wasn't important. Right. I'm not trying to be famous. It didn't matter. So words start circulating about who I was. That's the guy that be at the fights. That's him. Nobody know who I am, what I do, my background, or anything. Right. I get a call on Facebook. It's from a professional up-and-coming boxer. I think he had the impression that I was a promoter or a manager already. Right. And he said, yo, man, can you manage me? I've heard some great things about you, and I know you're a businessman, and, everybody I asked about you that do know something about you, they had nothing but great things to say about you. Your character, your reputation. Can you manage me? I had no interest in it. Right. None. I know the business of boxing, but I had no interest in it. Mm-hmm. And so I actually prayed about it, you know what I mean? And I thought about it, and I can see that this guy was very, very genuine in inquiring me to manage him. Right. And once I start realizing that I could do something with the young fighters in boxing, I can use all of my resources, whether it be taxes, credit, business, finances, right? And I could actually be a blessing to these up and coming guys.
Right.
Not managing them, none of that, but I'm like, hey, I could actually do something that's not being done because I see all of the greats. When you look at all of the greats, whether they from Philadelphia or not, but particularly in Philly, you look at all the greats, most of them made a lot of money in their boxing career, but they don't know about finances and credit and business. Yeah. They don't know.
Exactly. You understand? I told you, I never saw my dad use a credit card.
So, to his own detriment, he just didn't know.
Exactly.
Because if he did, all the money he made, man, he'd be big time rich now, just learning and understanding financial literacy. And so that's where the desire came from, my passion for boxing and my passion for finances, taxes, and the whole nine, and I put it all together.
It's not an easy gig.
It's tough.
You're dealing with
tough
politics. You're dealing with
tough,
and you're dealing with it on two different
on a very small scale.
So on one hand, you have the official politics.
Yep.
You're judging fights
for the amateurs. Yes, sir.
First of all, people don't realize you get $20 a show.
I don't know what they get. I'm unemployable. I'm just telling you, I'm a volunteer.
But you don't.
I don't know what they get.
Okay. So it's very small pay, but then you're dealing with
because it's volunteer work. When you do it for the amateurs, you ain't really getting money.
You're not.
And doing something to give back, to make a contribution back to the sport of boxing.
That's basically what I was trying to say. Like they're not getting paid. I was the one that had to pay them. They're not getting paid. And you're dealing with coaches coming saying, yo, man, y'all did my kid dirty.
Tough,
wanting to fight you guys. Boom, then you got that. All right. Now you're a manager. You're managing these fighters. You got to deal with these promoters. You fighting them.
You was a professional boxer.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's basically your job to get the most that you can out of the promotion. Fight for the fighter.
Absolutely.
On their behalf. Now, there was a time where the promoter was tricky. He would put somebody he knew as the manager of the fighter.
Absolutely.
So that negotiation couldn't happen.
Never happens. It's a conflict of interest.
Conflict of
interest.
And
it's also a federal violation of the Muhammad Ali Reform Act.
Now it is.
It is
but
now.
It wasn't until the mid-90s,
early
2000s.
Right. 2000s, yes, sir.
And that made the game a very, very dirty game. A lot of people don't understand the manager-promoter relationship. How do you deal with that in a Wild Wild West type of business?
Well, let me tell you something. The mystique of who I am helps me a lot. Now, a lot of people gonna watch this podcast, and I have given some of the ingredients of what my background is, right? But at the same time, nobody didn't know who I was. So the mystique of who I was, or who I am rather, and what I'm about, my background, they're going to see that now. But that actually is to my advantage, and I use it to my advantage because they don't know how much I know or who I know unless they start asking. You got to ask about 20 people in boxing to really know who I am and the contributions I've made to boxing, right? But that's good though.
Yeah.
Because if a promoter calls somebody and say, well, who's this guy, Marty Brown? Man, I never heard of the guy. I mean, I think I've seen him around. I don't know who this guy is, right? Yeah. But when they actually sit on the phone and talk to me, and I have to negotiate on behalf of my fighters or anybody else I'm representing or advising, that's when they'll know who I am. When they try to play little mind games and tricks that I already know about. From back in the day, they're trying to reinvent this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's when they realize, like, this guy's a stand-up guy. He's sturdy. He has integrity. And I do it and I represent to the best of my abilities. I don't try to get in here to get nothing from these guys. Let's be honest. You was a 4-round fighter before. These guys ain't really making nothing. Right? So
I made up because of who I was. I made all right money, but I understand.
But you understand. And somebody that don't have that name behind them.
These fighters that
it's tough
are coming up. How do you handle? Because it's part of your job too to prepare them, making them ready for the fight. You're probably going to the gym every now and then. That's your cousin right there calling me my mom.
Okay.
But what are some of the things that you do as a manager to make sure that your fighter is prepared for fight night?
Well, the first 3 letters and the word manager is man. Okay? And so I always try to establish that from the onset of any relationship. I'm a man, you're a man. When we keep that foundation established at all times, I don't have to babysit you. I have a lot of children. I don't babysit them. My youngest child is a teenager. My youngest child is a teen. So I don't babysit, my own children. So why would I babysit a man? And I don't need nobody to stand over my shoulder asking me a bunch of questions about whether I'm doing my job, because I'm a man. I know what I'm supposed to do, right? So once we establish that relationship, that the first three letters of the word manager is man, we will always have a solid foundation to respect one another. So the challenges is when that man or respect level is distorted.
Right.
And it can be distorted in so many ways.
Oh, definitely.
Somebody can get in the fighter's ear. Oh, he's stealing from you. Oh, he's doing, right? So what we do is we come together and we communicate. Yeah. Effectively and honestly. And I'm like that with all my relationships. So that helps me out a lot too, to really overcome those barriers. Communication, honest communication. Yeah. And really letting the fighter know exactly what's happening. In other words, is whatever I said to the promoter, I'm going to transfer and translate what I said to the promoter to you. Right. I'm here to represent you. You know what I mean?
It takes a lot of trust in that situation.
Absolutely. But that's how I build my trust, through transparency and honesty and keeping it all the way 100. I don't know how to be any other way. Even in my personal life, I'm honest with myself first and others around me. So why would I get in front of a man, and lie to him and play games with him?
And that's what's going to benefit you, because we are in a business from the amateur level.
Absolutely.
To Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder level, where it's all, for lack of a better word, fucked up. Really as far as people fighting each other on the inside, not even the fighters. We're talking about trainers fighting managers fighting promoters, people trying to get over on everybody. For there to be transparency at all in any level is a blessing. It's very hard for people to find that. Absolutely. My father was underneath Don King.
Oh yeah, I know his whole story. I know his whole story.
And that's how I know so much about the promoter-manager relationship. I call the fighter the prostitute in the situation. Wow. Because the promoter's trying to pimp us out and make as much money off of us as they can without paying us.
Unfortunately, that's very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. To find a breath of fresh air in that situation for any fighter would be amazing.
And I'm gonna tell you also, when I say man, that works both ways. In other words, I'm going to be a man and open up my heart and mind to hear whatever discrepancies you may have with me. Right. Whatever issues that you are not aware of. I have an open door policy. You know what I mean? So it's not about me dictating to nobody. I got kids. I'm not dictating to no. All about men, right? It's all about treating each other with respect. But I'm open to sit down and say, hey, look, Marty, I noticed this, that, and the third. What's up with that? In other words, I'm open to accountability. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But we have to be accountable to one another. That's where the trust is built at too. So you have communication and you have accountability. Right. And that's where it's built at. And I think my reputation will speak for itself at the end of the day.
Right. And what are some of the specific things that you're doing right now? You got fighters?
Just a few.
Yeah, a few.
I won't name drop.
What do you?
I may have something I'm advising to.
Right. So what are some of the daily things you're doing for these guys?
Well, the first thing is, which is the most challenging thing, is getting them on the cards. Getting them the right fights. And the challenges with that is money. Biggest challenge. Because you have some promoters, most promoters, majority of promoters, they want a lot of money just to advance your fighter on this particular card. That's just one card.
At the very least, they want you to pay for the fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't understand that. They think that these guys on these cards, the money's just there.
No.
And that's not how it works.
Absolutely not.
Especially if you're not a ticket seller. If you don't sell tickets.
That's even worse.
If they don't expect you to sell 300 tickets, they're going to ask your manager to figure out how to pay you and your opponent.
Absolutely. Even though the manager's obligation contractually is to just his or her fighter.
Right.
Not the opponent. You see? But see, I'm not in the business like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said before, I'm unemployable. I'm in any business to make money. I'm not in the business to lose money.
Right.
That's not the business for me.
Right.
So that's something that we got to iron that out.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Figure that
and
out.
if that means that the fighter can't get on this particular card, amen, so be it. We move on somewhere else.
Right.
You know, so that's the first thing is getting in contact with a bunch of promoters,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the right promoters is the ones that's going to be able to pay, you know, the fighter what they're supposed to get paid.
Right.
You know, there's fighters out here, not to put their money out there, they getting less than $600 for a 4-round fight. You understand? So,
Yeah.
you know, some fighters say that's cool.
Yeah.
But when you know the business of boxing like you and I do, we know there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, especially if the promoter's going to get 60,000.
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
Right? So we got to do the math right. I told you I'm the numbers guy.
I'm trying to do the math right now.
Yeah.
600.
I'm just saying.
You better off working at McDonald's.
Right. Now listen. So that's the main focus is putting the fighter in position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to do two things: financially protect
Mm-hmm.
his or her interests, and number two, get them with a promoter who's a good promoter,
Right.
who can really move them with. And I'm not talking about the promoter not making money. The business is designed for money to be made.
Yeah.
But it's all about good business and how the money is to be made. Listen, people ask me all the time, what do you think about Deontay Wilder in that situation with Fury? And I think I talked to you about this off camera a few days ago.
Yeah.
If I was managing a person that was in Deontay Wilder's situation after his second fight with Fury, right? Let's say if I had a fighter man and I'm managing him, I would have made sure within the 20-month time span that, you know, my fighter would have got 3 paydays within 20 months.
Right.
Because, you know, Deontay Wilder only got 1 payday.
Right. Now,
20.
you're going to have to explain that because people are used to seeing these pay-per-views happen once a year.
Yeah, no.
They're used to seeing their fighter maybe once every... I don't know when's the last time we saw Terrence Crawford fight.
Yeah.
How would you get Deontay 3 paydays?
Now, I'm not saying nothing bad about his management.
Yeah.
He's with Shelly Fake, one of them guys, PBC. They good. They
What
good
you saying?
they good promoters. I'm talking about what I would do.
Yeah.
With me, if I had a fighter that was of his caliber and everything basically was equivalent to him in his situation, I would have made sure my fighter got 3 paydays within 20 months. I'll tell you how. After the second fight, my fighter actually lost by devastating TKO.
Yeah.
Of course, the trainer threw the towel in, right? Okay, cool. You wanted to die on your shield.
Yeah.
The fighter's words, not the manager's, right? So you want to change trainers. You fired your trainer, your head trainer. Now you want another trainer. Okay, cool. We have to implement new techniques. And one of those techniques start with the letter D. Defense, right? So if you're going to choose a new trainer and you have defense as one of your techniques that you're going to improve in, your footwork, right? Using the jab to set up the big right hand, right? All of these different things you want to work on. Your first big payday is going to come from us implementing these new techniques in a tune-up fight.
Right.
Okay, I know the contract says that you have a third, fight with Tyson Fury, right? Right? No, but we're not going to exercise that right now.
Right.
Because mentally, we got to prepare you, build your confidence back up, and then implement these new strategies. We can do all 3 of those things in this next fight. I'm going to make sure you're going to get $10 million from it. It's not going to be on pay-per-view.
Right.
It's not going to be on pay-per-view. But we already got a deal with Showtime. We're going to make sure that Steven Espinosa and them guys cut you a check for 10. You're going to get $10 million. You're going to fight a SEPTA bus driver from Philadelphia. No disrespect to SEPTA, you know what I mean? Those guys are my friends. They know who I am. I'm still family. They're going to laugh when they see me. Okay? So you're going to fight a SEPTA driver.
We get the terminology though.
Right. Matter of fact, you can fight the same SEPTA bus driver who had the same uppercut as the bus driver in Ohio. Remember the bus driver in Ohio? There was a bus driver in Ohio.
He hit the girl?
He uppercut the girl.
Yeah,
So we're going to find you somebody from SEPTA that got a good uppercut like him. Okay? You're going to fight him for $10 million. That's your first payday. The second payday is going to come because now at this point, 6-7 months down the line after that, Joshua and Fury's talking about fighting each other. One of the guys, Fury, he has 1 title. because he just knocked you out for it.
Yeah.
Fury,
Joshua
has the other
all
three.
of them. Yeah.
So now you're gonna let them two guys fight. Why? Because when they unify all the belts, when we get to the third fight with Fury, because we know Fury's going to beat him, okay? You just fight Fury one time and get all of the belts, right? So now the second payday you're going to get, we're going to call that step aside money. And we don't want nothing less than $5 million on that. Because them guys going to make 40, 50 million. Okay, both of these guys from London. When they have this fight in Wembley Stadium, 90,000 people, you know the bag's going to be right.
Yeah.
So we're not going to stop a man's money. Let them go head on and fight. You're going to take $4.5 million, just a step aside. That's going to be your second payday. Now watch this. You had time to rest your body after the second fight and after the tune-up. Now, when Fury beats Joshua, if that is the case, even if Fury don't beat Joshua, I would rather that Joshua beat Fury because we know you can knock him out clean in the first and second round, and he's going quick.
Yeah.
Okay, but cool. Fury beats him. Now you're in the third fight. Now what's going to happen is they're going to have a rematch clause, but this is where we exercise our third fight.
Yeah.
And we take it to litigation. No. I stepped aside, saying that, hey, whoever wins this fight will fight my fighter next. And if it's Fury, we're going to exercise, our third fight, our rematch clause. Right. We're going to exercise that. And we're going to get 30 to 40 million. Win, lose, or draw. Yeah. So now you add 30 million plus the 4.5. Told you I'm good with numbers, right? Plus the 10.
Yeah.
We almost at 50 million in 20 months.
Yeah.
In 20 months. Because now you're implementing these new techniques and defense and all these new things with a new trainer in your first fight with Fury as the third fight is just, and you're putting on more muscle. See, we're not doing all of that.
This is kind of like the conversation that we had when we talked about my dad asking him the question.
Oh, absolutely.
If he was qualified to pick his own trainer.
That's the manager's job. To help with that process.
So what I'm hearing from you is you see holes in his camp a little bit on how things are going to be handled.
This guy trying to get me sued.
I'm not trying to get you sued. You don't want opening up the can of worms of what you would do, and the total
months, I'd have got him 3 paydays.
The total opposite happened. I don't know how much money, endorsement wise.
Oh no, I ain't even include that. I'm just talking about just the fight.
Just the fight.
Oh, we getting endorsement deals, absolutely.
Now he's going to be in a different position after this fight. Is there going to be $10 million on the table
for Wilder?
For Wilder.
You mean moving forward?
Moving forward.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's going to return. They're saying he's going to return in May or June.
Yeah.
Because of course, you notice in boxing, there's a 6-month suspension after you get knocked out, especially as bad as automatically, for the safety of the fighter.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact, he will not be the same. No. I can guarantee you. He will not be the same.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if 10 million will be on the table for him.
I personally think that.
I don't think 10 is.
And I'll be
honest. Might be a little less than 10.
I didn't even think of the situation the way you brought it up to me. But then when you said it, I'm like, damn. That makes sense.
Yeah. 20 months.
We should have been working together.
20 months.
When I was fighting.
Yeah, but think about it, 20 months.
That's 50 million.
That was 50 million.
If it plays out the way you can, nobody gets injured and all that. But that's all water under the bridge. Yeah. Now you got your future. Yes, sir. You got to do that for somebody else.
And I'm going to. Yeah. And still do. Hey, listen, in our last fight with one of my prospects, we were set up. I mean, when I say set up, I mean it was set up on a silver platter. Not for us to just lose, but for us to get knocked clean out against a power puncher. Both of these kids are undefeated. You know what I mean? And so we went and took care of business. Yeah. And I don't want to take no credit because I didn't get punched in the face.
At the end of the day,
fighter, he took care of business. And all salute to him, man. All salute to him. He took care of business and he won.
At the end of the day, that fist, that handles all.
It handles everything.
Everything,
It solves a lot of problems, you know what I mean? And then guess what? Deontay Wilder, for the last 40-something fights, have solved a lot of people's problems. Yeah. But now they have a bigger problem that they had before all of that happened. Fury, let me tell you something. You know this professionally. There's 2 types of beatings in boxing. You get beat up or you get beat down. And I believe in the second fight, Wilder got beat up. But in the third and final fight,
he got beat down.
He got beat down.
Yeah.
He took a lot of punishment.
You could tell mentally, right after the fight, he wouldn't apologize.
He wasn't respectful.
He went, and we know as gladiators, once the fight's over, it's over. Yeah. So that tells me mentally he's not in a good place outside the ring.
Absolutely.
He needs some mentors and some people to.
That's
I don't want to say humble him, but but get his character together.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. I met Wilder.
Yeah, I fought on the same card as him. That's why I was going to tell you real quick before you tell your story that I was on his card and he was fighting SEPTA drivers. Yeah. So
about 40 of them. But I met him in, I think it was like 2014.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I met him at Brooklyn, New York, at the Barclays Center. I think Danny Jacobs was on the card.
Okay.
And I went,
that wasn't when he fought Canelo, was it?
No. He fought Sergio Moro.
Okay, yeah.
When they knocked each other down.
Yeah.
Danny Garcia, representing Philadelphia, you know what I mean? I went to see him. He fought Paulie Malignaggi.
Okay, I remember. Time. Okay, this is right? We're talking about 8 years ago.
Yeah, so Deontay Wilder, I saw him. He had just won the belt from Stavern.
Okay,
the first time.
Yeah.
And he was very humble, man. But sometimes in boxing and just life in general, when you come from nothing, and you don't make a lot of money, then you just start making money that you're not used to accumulating at one point. And it happened to me at 7.
And not just,
you know what I mean? It changed you just a tad bit, different.
Not just that. Let me tell you from a boxer's point of view.
Yeah.
You making money. All right, not just that. I seen this girl walking him into the arena. He didn't have that girl.
Oh, no, you know how it is in boxing. When you first started, your girl can't even get her hair done. You know what I mean? But once you start getting money, you get the baddest chick on the block.
You know
what I mean?
You're hanging out with rappers now.
Hey.
You're
being influenced.
You're being influenced.
Yep.
Who is there? And this goes back to the question that my dad asked him on, who is there to help advise you, to help, help you make the right decisions. I had my father. Yes. He didn't always help me make the right decisions, but
he was still there.
He was still there
as a driving force of knowledge and experience.
Don't say this. Don't say. I remember fighting over in England, and we were doing like a public kind of, not really a public event, but we were out in the public, and they were like, "Oh, so you're gonna fight over here?" And off the cuff, me being from Philadelphia, I'm like, I came to fight, to beat up an English dude, And my dad was like, "Oh.
Yeah,
can't say that, we not gonna do that." And then right from there, I was thinking, and he's right, because when I won that fight, the whole crowd was trying to come after me after in England.
In London, they don't play about boxing,
so
brother.
I'm glad I started to change and be more friendly. Now they're my fans, but you get this camaraderie. I'm not on Deontay Wilder's level at all as far as fame and all that, but everyone wants to be you. It's easy to get a big head. Everybody wants to, at the fight, they want to act like they're a fighter. Yeah. So I see a lot of that in him. He needs a Marty or somebody around him to be like, "Look, man, don't say that you're going to kill somebody in the ring.
You can't say you're going to kill somebody.
Don't say you want a body.
No. You're not coming back in blood. This is not game right here, bro. It's not what this is about.
Yeah.
About. We're trying to go on to families, and take care of families and build generational wealth. That's what I was told.
That's what it's supposed to be.
But here's the thing: in boxing and in anything, even in entertainment, whether you got your day job or whatever, if you're making a certain amount of money, you're going to accumulate with that money some yes men or some yes women. Right?
Definitely.
Some people that just want to hang on, just want to latch on to you, and not loving you enough to say, "Yo, what you said was wrong. Hey, sweetheart, what you did was not cool." Not holding you accountable, because they always want to please you, and I think that is something that's around him too.
He's feeding a lot of people.
He's employed a lot of people. So. And here's the thing: not only is he employing a lot of people, Wilder is, but he unemployed the wrong person. You unemployed the wrong person, brother. You know what I mean? Because in my personal opinion, what I know about boxing, you should have kept Mark Breeden. Mark Breland was telling you that he's not a yes sir man.
Yeah.
He's telling you that he loves you. He's been around you 12 years. He's putting you in a position to where you are, even though you don't listen to him. Sometimes you abandon the jab and you don't want to do no cardio work or no road work. But anyway, he loved you enough to throw that towel in to save your life so you can fight another day.
Right.
You know?
But a lot of emotions are in that situation.
And he didn't spike your water. Nah. You can't say that he put a muscle relaxer.
Nah. Yeah, well, there's a lot of excuses there too.
A lot of excuses.
But at the end of the day,
and I like Wilder's. No,
yeah. But we just got to speak the truth.
Just keep it on.
And he should have brought somebody to add on.
Yeah.
I personally, don't, and I'm gonna say it here. I don't think Malik Scott is the guy.
He knocked Malik Scott out in the first round. Yeah, some people say he took a dive. Needless to say, that was your homeboy.
Yeah.
He's not going to tell you. And Fury said it the best.
Yeah.
Yes, Fury said it the best. He said, Malik Scott was my sparring partner. I was beating him up in sparring.
Yeah.
I done beat you up twice. So he can't tell you nothing how to beat me when I beat both of y'all up. I'm just, that's what those are Fury words, not mine.
So I come from a reality where it was possible for Malik to add on some stuff, but I've been friends with him on social media for
Malik
a while.
Scott?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's from Philly.
Yeah, I know. Him and my dad sparred a couple times when he was younger, but it's like he's clout chasing.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to be internet famous.
Okay. I don't know nothing about
I tell him, right? When you watch this Malik, he got lucky getting this job, but he can't take someone with no skills and take him to that level like Mark Breland did for Deontay Wilder. He don't have it in him. He's more interested in himself being famous. He doesn't.
Mark Breland, with all respect to Malik Scott, Mark Breland, 2-time welterweight champion of the world, and he got knocked out and lost his title and bounced back. So he's the right guy you want in your corner.
At least mentally.
Mentally, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Let's say Malik Scott taught Wilder how to do better footwork and setting up body punches, which you saw in the first round or two in that third fight.
Until you got hit.
Here's what Malik Scott can't teach you. Here's where Malik Scott can't be your voice. When you're in trouble.
Yeah.
When you get back into the corner,
yeah.
His voice, is it going to resonate in you? Can he motivate you to say, listen, champ, you're doing good, you're caught slipping. Listen, move your head. Deep. You got to talk to the fighter. It bothers me when I see fighters in the corner telling the trainer what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. And if you've been in boxing, you've seen this. Whereas though the trainer has to be the one to pull it out of you. Look at this, right?
You see it all the time.
Look at Michael Moorer. Mm-hmm. He was fighting the great, one of my favorites of all time, the great Evander Holyfield. For the world championship belt. He had Teddy Atlas in his corner. Okay. And you seen 3 rounds straight.
He was yelling the shit out of him, right?
Teddy Atlas is trying to motivate him, even to the point where he made Moorer stand up and Teddy Atlas sat on the stool. You want us to trade places, bro?
Yeah.
And guess what happened? He willed Michael Moorer to defeat Evander Holyfield to become the first Southpaw heavyweight champion of the world. That's good training. That's a good coach.
Malik Scott probably saw Deontay in trouble and was having flashbacks himself.
Yeah, because he was reduced to an opponent.
Right.
Malik Scott.
Oh, I know.
So it's a little different,
His mentality ain't the same.
And I'm learning that more and more in management. Where it's not all about just managing prospects. You got to manage some
journeymen
as well. Some guys that know exactly who they are mentally. No matter what you say to them, they know exactly who they are. And you let them be who they are. I let them be who they are.
They're professionals at the.
That's what they do.
At the highest level.
That's what they do.
They know how to go in there and do their job.
They do their job.
And every now and then they get a win.
They might.
Every now and then. So we at the end of the podcast though. Man. Yeah, I know. I told you it was going to go quick.
Go by fast, Jordan.
We're going on almost 2 hours.
Are you? No, this is not true.
Yeah, it's 2:44.
Wait a minute. We was on this podcast. Do I talk that much?
Nah, it's a little bit over an hour and a half.
All right, cool.
But what I want to do at the end of my podcast, I usually give people a chance to spread any message that they want to spread.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be boxing related. It doesn't have to be about you. just something that's on your mind that you want the world to hear.
Yeah.
So this is your chance to spread your message.
Well, let me say this. This is to the African American or Black community. Instead of focusing on hindrances or so-called hindrances on what you can't do, I would like for the community, whether they're famous or not, to focus on what we can do.
Definitely.
And what we can do is unite. What we can do is stick together. What we can do is love one another. You know what I mean? Because it's this new culture that's been going around for the last several years that racism, slavery, 400 years of oppression, I'm pretty much sick and tired of hearing that, because here's the thing, and I tell people this all the time, there's two colors that matter the most in this country, and it's not black or white. It's red and green. And if your credit score is in the red, you will feel the effects of that no matter what color you are. If your credit score is in the green, you will reap the benefits and rewards of that no matter what color you are. There is no other culture or race born in this country with an 800 credit score. Nobody. No, everybody has to come through the same credit score in this country. Okay, I know we want to talk about systemic, but we have to let that die down, because all of that's not all the way accurate. You know, and I'm not saying that slavery didn't exist, but we enslave each other. We still enslave financially. If you don't have financial intelligence, you're enslaved.
Yeah, right.
If you're being a thot, as they call them in the hood, or a pimp, you know what I mean? You're sexually enslaved, right? If you don't believe in God, you are spiritually enslaved. And if you keep letting all of these Black people, or these supposed to be so-called leaders, push a false narrative, then now you are emotionally enslaved. And we have to get better at that. And I'm not saying that slavery didn't exist. Well, slavery has been abolished now since 1865 in this country. However, with that being said, and you and I talked about this, and I have to leave you with this. I have to just leave it with you, because they talked about Black Wall Street being destroyed in 1920. Yeah. Is the dates accurate?
It's similar, yeah.
So my question would be, since 1920, why wasn't the information of financial literacy and business ownership passed down? We can't blame another race for it. If 1920 was when it was destroyed, that means it was happening of business ownership, right? A community of Blacks, okay, living wealthy and uniting. Before 1920, during the slavery time, before Prohibition, if this all happened, why didn't the information of financial literacy and business ownership didn't get passed down generation to generation to generation to generation to generation? So either it's not true, or somebody Black dropped the ball. Either way, we are in the conditions that we are in today, us as a race, not because of people that are white, not because of a government, not because of nobody else. It's because of the decisions that we made, being so we may not have the knowledge from our parents or whatever. I'll give you an example. If a white parent trained up his or her child, or any other race besides the Black race, train up their child to have a head start with credit, learning how to purchase a home, learn how to purchase a vehicle, learn how to have financial intelligence, nobody should criticize them. We should duplicate the same process, because that's what we're supposed to do as parents. My children have credit cards in their own credit, not debit, credit cards in their name. I'm setting them up already. None of them are 18 yet, but I'm setting them up. That's my responsibility. That's my job. And if there's a weakness that I have, their mother may have a strength. They got to pull from the strength of the mother. And then I leave all of my African American or Black, community with this. If this government is so racist, if this system is so systemically oppressing Black people, then stop asking them for stuff. I leave you with that challenge today. Don't ask them for nothing. No, don't ask them, because they're oppressing you and your people now. Don't ask them. No. Can I finish? Real quick.
Go ahead. Because I'm not gonna rebuttal what you said.
No, it's okay. I just want to finish this, because this is my last part to the Black community. My brothers and sisters, the Black community. Don't ask them for anything. If you are irresponsible in your sexual activity, and you impregnate each other, or if a man impregnate a woman or whatnot, in the Black community, don't go to the systemically oppressive government and ask them for welfare. Don't ask them for anything. Don't ask them for WIC. Don't ask them for Section 8 housing. Don't ask them for public housing. Don't ask them for medical assistance. Don't ask the systemically racist government for nothing. The stimulus check that the systemically racist and oppressive government gave you, stop cashing it.
Yeah.
Don't take the child tax credit from the IRS. Just do it yourself or find somebody else black that's doing it, right? And support that. And I'm gonna leave him with that.
And we're gonna have to have another show.
Can we have it? Can I come back, Jordan? Can I come back?
We're talking about this specific topic.
Yes, but that's my last word.
Yeah.
Young Black Suburban, brother. I got to give it to you. Because listen, you got the word black in the middle of the podcast title, so I want to get to my people.
And me being from the suburbs and everything, I have a look at, and I do see some of the things, and I'm not going to say that you're...
I'm not saying it's not true.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that you're...
I'm not saying that all of it's not true.
And
I'm not saying it's all not true.
Us as a people...
Yeah.
All right, real quick before we end.
Yeah. Don't edit this part out, Tim.
No. We're not editing it out at all. We might edit out what I want to say, because I don't want to take away from what you said.
All right, cool.
But let's talk about the Jewish.
Yeah.
All right, the Holocaust happened.
Mm-hmm.
Our government took care of them.
Yeah.
You know, they have a country that receives funds every year. You know, they take care of not just Israel, they take care of Germany where it happened. They get tax money, reparations we would call it, for something that didn't even happen in America. Japanese. We've been taking care of Japan, spread democracy over there. Got rid of their imperial government by a bomb maybe, but we did it. All these countries, all these things that America has had a hand in, they're benefiting from it now. Our country told them, African Americans, that we put you through all this, and now it's on your own. You're on your own. The government stuff that you say that we shouldn't take, we should have had something better set up for us before. We don't have it. Like I told you before, I started all this. Like I'm an example of everything that you're saying. You know, you can't use excuses or whatever. I started all this without a credit card, you know, but, you know, generations of people don't have that because they told us to start where we're starting. That's my
1920 happened. You gotta remember.
Yeah, 1920 is not that. My grandma was born at that time. You know, around that time. You know, people like Muhammad Ali were born around that time. You know, these are people that fought for a country that couldn't come back and integrate with the people that had money, the banks that had money. So that's just my opinion. You know, it's not that long ago that we couldn't do business with certain people. Our people couldn't do business with each other because nobody, you might have Black Wall Street, a town in one place, but then you had Chicago, you got Oakland, you got these places where they're doing the opposite. They're putting liquor stores there. They're putting drugs there.
Puerto Rican store, we're buying it. Chinese store, we're buying it. We're the biggest consumers in the country. Your parents made a decision.
And that's the only good decision they made.
That's great. but tell me, that's great. Every parent should do. Look at my situation. My mom, you know, grew up in the projects, right? My dad in and out of jail, the different things of that nature. We grew up in public housing, all those experiences. And I'm sure there's many experiences I didn't mention in my experience growing up in the hood, right? That wasn't nobody else. This was the decision my mother made. The decision my father made. Your father and mother made a different decision, and you see your outcome. So I can't blame another race or the government because my mother made the decision. You know what I mean? To have me and wasn't responsible and didn't have all of the ingredients to raise me.
But properly. I don't look at it as my dad making a decision. I look at it as him hitting the lottery. Not every and just like a lot of other Black people. He didn't do it through grown. He had to be a professional athlete. Just like every other inner city kid that you see, you know, come out. So it's not like he, you know.
You don't think your dad consciously said, let me move my kid or kids to the suburbs?
He did that. He had to do it because the city was that bad. You know.
But in what neighborhood? Ours.
No, I when I was born, I was living in Center City, in a good neighborhood. Center City wasn't bad.
Majority was the black community with the violence, the gangs, the drug epidemic. All of that was happening, and your dad, being from the city, recognized that.
And he brought it all up here to the suburb.
I know, but check this out though. But he recognized that in the county, it was something different going on for my children. I did the same thing, so I know, for my kids. And
let me just close this out before I finish. I'm sorry. All right, so this is the Young Black Suburban. Thanks for tuning in. My guest, Marty Brown.
Thank you for tuning in.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, we're going to do a part 2. So
we got to do a
part 2.
Straight culture.
Straight culture. Part 2.